Around 91,000 Coloradans are living with Alzheimer's or other types of dementia. Experts say this extreme heat can make an already tough situation even worse.
The temperature, as it increases, there's a greater risk.
Jim Hamilev knows the temperature is turning up.
I think when you're wearing a suit or a suit coat, it gets a little uncomfortable.
As temps reach 100 degrees Wednesday, he says for those with Alzheimer's, it's uncomfortable and dangerous.
Alzheimer's disease has many changes both in the brain and the body, and so part of that can include increased sensitivity to temperature.
As the Colorado chapter director of the Alzheimer's Association, Hamilev says that's important because those with dementia may not realize they've gotten too hot.
Their judgment may be impaired, those sorts of, they may have trouble communicating their discomfort, so those are some major concerns.
And these sizzling days can make symptoms worse.
The heat can also exacerbate, behavioral issues, agitation, that sort of thing. So if we can work to work on the physical side of things, that can also help out on the behavioral agitation.
And it can be deadly. A study with the National Institutes of Health found people living with Alzheimer's were 6% more likely to die on an extremely hot day. The risk in the heat, Hamilev says, grows as their dementia progresses.
Definitely as a disease progresses, you're going to see more changes and less in terms of the judgment. Communication especially is going to be more difficult as a person progresses. That's why it's so important to have that support system in place and that people are doing those welfare checks. Also planning, monitoring the weather conditions to get out in front of it can be helpful. So all of those things are really important to protect these individuals.
He says when temperatures hit the extreme, it's critical family and caregivers check in.
I think just being vigilant, especially as the temperatures climb.
Yeah, they say, guys, it's so important to have a plan, to talk about it, to have loved ones ready to check in.
It could be life-saving.
Yeah, when you think about it, Kathy, I mean, the heat is dangerous for so many groups.
Yes.
That's one that I hadn't, frankly, put in that special group. We think of dogs, we think of kids, we think of elderly people, but that's another way.
It's such an important reminder because so many of us have friends, neighbors, relatives, you know, that are dealing with forms of dementia and Alzheimer's. And so I think a lot of us really weren't focused on that today. So thank you for that, because I'm always talking about pets and kids, but you know what? Our elderly neighbors and friends and family members are important as well.